watching Simplify Your Concept.
Hello viewers, welcome to another topic that I am going to start today, that is three-phase synchronous generator. We will learn all the basic concept related to this topic, and this is the first part of it. From now onwards, to help you understand the topic in a better way, I have included quiz related to the concept at the end of the video. So do watch the video completely. Now let's get started. So first let us see what are the contents which we have. First is the introduction, where I will tell you about what is synchronous generator and what is the function of synchronous generator, and then why is it called as synchronous generator. Then we shall have the constructional details, where we will see what are the different parts of synchronous generator and what is the function of each part. Then advantage of stationary armature, or we say advantage of rotating field, followed by the working principle of three-phase synchronous generator. Then we shall see what is synchronous speed and what is the frequency of the generated voltage. Then we will also understand the two important factors, that is pitch factor and distribution factor in the synchronous generator. And finally, we will derive the EMF equation of the three-phase synchronous generator. So let's start with the introduction. So synchronous generators, also called as AC generators or alternators, what is it? It is a machine that converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. As we already know that any generator, whether it is an AC or DC generator, the function is to convert the input, that is a mechanical energy, into the electrical energy as the output. So the generated electrical energy is in the form of an alternating current sinusoidal output waveform. So since they are AC generators, we are going to get AC output. Then why these synchronous generators are called synchronous? Because these generators basically runs at a constant speed that is called as synchronous speed. And that synchronous speed is represented by Ns, whose equation is given as 120 F by P. And this we will see in detail also later when I will tell you about the frequency of the induced EMF. There also we will derive this equation, where we will see that how the speed depends upon the frequency as well as the number of poles. So these generators basically run at this speed constantly. That is why this is called as synchronous generators. Now let us see the construction of synchronous generator. So what are the different parts or the various important parts or the components of AC generators? The first one is called as the stator, also called as armature. So in some of the machines, we call it as stator, or we also call it as armature. And this is the stationary part of the synchronous generator, right? So they are stationary in nature. Whereas the other part is called as the rotor, or it is also called as field. And this is the rotating part of the synchronous generator. The another component is the slip rings and then brushes. So let's see, this is the figure representing a cross-sectional view of the synchronous generator, where you can notice all the different parts are being marked. So this outer cover which you see, it is the stator frame. And inside this we have the stator core. This is what you see, this is stator core. And then on the internal periphery of the stator core, you can see there are slotted, right? So these are the slots. We call it as stator slots, or we can also call it as armature slots. And inside this slots, we will place the stator winding or the armature windings. Then inside the stator, we have the rotating part, that is the rotor. So this part is the rotor part, which is also, as I said, it can also be called as field. And on the surface of the rotor, you can see here, these are the poles. So these are the poles, magnetic poles. And on the poles, we are going to place the magnetic field coils or the field windings. And then internally, we will have the brushes, slip rings and brushes. And then through the slip rings, we are going to give DC excitation to the rotor windings. And from the stator, we are going to take the three-phase supply as the output. Now let's see one by one all the major parts, and let's see what are their functions and what is the material which is used to make these parts. So the first one is the stator, and the stator is having three parts in it. So first one is called as the stator frame, that is the outermost cover, what I have shown you just now. Then next one is the stator core, or also called as armature core. And the third one is stator or armature windings. So let's see first what is stator frame. So this already I have told that stator is a stationary component, so it does not rotate, it remains stationary. The stator frame so looks like something like this. What is the function of stator frame is that it is used to hold the stator core and the stator windings, and it also gives protection to the stator core as well as the stator windings. And the material which is used to make this stator frame is the cast iron, because cast iron is very strong and it also as well as it is cheap. Now let's see about the stator core or the armature core. So if you see here, this is what is representation of the stator core, and on the internal periphery, as you can observe, these are the slots. Now if you observe here, there are two different types of cores I have shown here. Why two different types? Because depending upon the type of slotting which is done here, these are different types of armature core. These slots which has a shape of like this, they are called as open slots. Whereas the stator core which has the slots in the shape of like this, they are called as semi-open or semi-closed. So this one, what you see, this is the core having semi-open or semi-closed slots, whereas this armature core has open slots. So now what is the function or what is the material which is used to make this core? The material used is silicon steel, and we are going to use laminations of the silicon steel to make this core. So what we do is we take thin laminations like a sheet of paper if you take, and one paper you take and 100 papers you take, and then you stamp together to form a book. In a similar way here, to make the entire solid stator core, we are going to stamp thin laminations of silicon steel to make this entire core. The reason for why we are using laminations is that it reduces the core losses in the stator winding. So what is the function of this stator core? The function is to hold the stator windings. Okay, so in these slots, we are going to place the stator windings. Now let's see what is stator or armature winding. So stator or armature windings are the windings that are generally placed inside the slots. So as in the previous figure I have shown, there were slots on the armature core, and inside that core we are going to place the three-phase stator winding, which will be generally connected in star. So what is the material which is used to make this stator winding? Usually we use copper, or we can also use aluminium. The best material which is used is the copper. And what is the function of it? The function of the stator winding is to produce the EMF or the voltage. So basically, the three-phase voltage is induced in these stator windings, and from the stator windings we take the three-phase power as the output power. These are the components of the stator, that is stator frame, stator core, and the stator winding. Now if I show you the whole assembly, it looks like this. So the outermost cover is the, you can say this is the stator frame. Inside that we have the stator core. On that we are going to place the stator windings. Okay, so this is all about the stator. Now let's see about the rotor. So rotor, as you know, it is the rotating part of the synchronous generator, and these rotors are divided into two parts. One is called as salient pole, or they are also called as projected pole type rotor, and the other one is called as non-salient pole, or they are also called as smooth cylindrical type. So these are the two different types in the construction point of view, and we will also see what is the difference between these two. So where we use salient pole and where we use non-salient pole. So first let's see salient pole. This is the picture representing the salient pole, and this is also one of the cross-sectional view where the salient pole has been represented. So you can see this is the poles. Okay, these are the pole. This part of the pole is called as pole core, and this part is called as pole shoe. Okay, so what is the purpose of pole core? On the pole core we will place the rotor windings or the field windings. And the pole shoe, basically it gives protection. It means it gives does not allow the field windings to fall, and it also increases the area for the flux. And this is the rotor, and inside that you will have the shaft. Okay, so you can see here this is a 6-pole salient pole rotor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 poles are being used. 3 pair of poles are being used. So let's see now what are the characteristics of this type of rotor. So the first characteristic is that it has projecting poles. So you can see here, these are the poles, right? And these poles are being projecting outward from the surface of the rotor. So this is the rotor and the poles are being projecting outwards. The next one is that they have large diameter. So this overall diameter, if you see from here to here, they have a large diameter. Whereas they have small axial length. What is small axial length? If I make this, say this looks like the rotor. So this is the diameter and this is your axial length. So they have small axial length and large diameters. And they have non-uniform air gap. So if you observe here, see the air gap. What is air gap? It is the gap between the stator and the rotor. So above this we are going to have the stator. And if you see here the gap which is from the center of the pole will be minimum, right? Whereas if you see from here, the air gap will be more, right? So it has non-uniform air gap. Because of this, the windage losses in these type of rotors are more. Okay, windage losses are more. So the next one is that they are mechanically weak because of the projecting poles and non-uniform air gap. So that is why they are preferred for low speed alternators, and the speed range can be around 100 to 1500 rpm. The damper windings are being used here. So what are damper windings? If you see on this, most of the alternators have their pole shoes slotted. So you can see here these small slots which are being done, right, for receiving the copper bars or for the damper bars, right? So what are they used for? These damper coils or damper bars are used to prevent hunting, right? What is hunting? It is basically momentarily speed fluctuations, or we say it is used to prevent rotor oscillations. So when the rotor is in operation, there are chances that it may oscillate. So using these damper bars or damper windings, we can prevent the rotor oscillations. So in case of salient pole, we need to use these damper bars or damper windings. And the material which is used is again the laminations of the steel. Okay, same material what we use to make the stator core, same material is used for the rotor also. So these type of rotors are generally used in, as I told, that low speed alternators. Those are generally hydro power plants. These type of rotors, see, we need to provide some mechanical input. And how do you provide mechanical input to the synchronous generator? With the help of prime movers. So here the prime movers that are used, they can be IC engines or they can be water turbines. So with the help of these prime movers, we can provide the necessary mechanical input for such type of rotors. Now let's see the another type of rotor, that is the non-salient type of rotor. So this is the picture representing the non-salient pole rotor, and this is the cross-sectional view if you observe here. So these are the poles. So you can observe there are less number of poles here, only 4 poles. And what you see here that they do not have projected poles, whereas they have the slots on the rotor periphery itself, right? This unslotted portion of the rotor behaves as the poles. We do not have projected poles here. And inside these slots, what are we going to place? Field coils or the field windings. Okay, now let's see their features also one by one. So the first one is that they have non-projecting poles, as I already told you that. Then they have smaller diameter. Okay, so what you see, they have small diameter compared to the salient pole type of rotors, whereas they have large axial length. So their axial length, if I say the axial length is this length, so they have large axial length compared to their diameters. Then the next one, they have uniform air gap. So the air gap, so if here I will have the stator, So between the rotor and the stator, the air gap is uniform in nature. And they are mechanically strong compared to the salient type of rotors, and they are preferred for high speed operation. The speed can vary from 1500 to 3000 rpm. So they are generally used for the power plants like nuclear, gas, and thermal power plants. And they do not need damper windings because they have uniform air gap. So the oscillations which are produced during the operation is very, very small. So they do not need damper windings. And here also I would like to tell you what is the prime mover which is required. The prime mover that can be used to provide the mechanical input here is steam engines, or we can also use electric motors. So you know the output of the motor gives mechanical output. So that output can be given as an input for this synchronous generator where we are using non-salient type of rotor. And as I said, these are also called as smooth cylindrical type of rotor. So this is all about the rotor. So the major two important components we should know for a synchronous generator is the rotor as well as the stator. So please go through the questions and read it carefully and write your answers in the comment section. So the first question is that a machine without commutator providing an AC EMF to the external circuit is called as. So the options are whether it is called as a DC generator or an alternator or a synchronous motor or a transformer. So let me know the answer in the comment section. Now let's see the next question, that is the diameter and axial length of the rotors of smooth cylindrical type rotors are small diameter, small axial length, large diameter, large axial length, large diameter, small axial length, and or small diameter, large axial length. And the final question is that for high-speed alternators or turbo alternators, which type of rate rotor is generally used? So the options are salient pole type, projected pole type, smooth cylindrical type, or both A and B. Write the answers for these questions in the comment section. So that's all for today. See you soon in the next part of this video. Thank you so much for watching.